Hi everyone, it's Jerry. Here's another cool chess puzzle that I've been looking forward to sharing with you. It's from 1946. I think you're really going to like this one. It's from 1946, and it was composed by Frédéric Lazard. That name may ring a bell. This is not the first composition I'm sharing with you by him in this playlist. Cool Chess Puzzles number 14 is another one of his. And judging by the feedback you guys left on that video, many of you took a great liking to his work, to his composition. At the time of this recording, at least 570 of you gave that one a thumbs up. So let's see what you think of this composition here, where it is white to move. And as usual, it is up to you to try and find the best continuation. I suggest, as I do with all compositions, you really take some time out to try to work it out. Okay. And now for the solution, which in my opinion is brilliant, in part because your favorite chess engine will likely struggle to correctly evaluate it. That's only part of it. The first move is knight to e4. This is a composition that is not very deep move-wise. However, it does require deep understanding. This is the first key move, knight e4. It's important to not only give check, but also prevent the king from getting to f2. When I was trying to solve it, I tested knight e2, but soon concluded that when the king gets to f2, there's just too many options, and we won't be able to give enough direction to black. We won't be able to make progress here. It's important to make use of e4, stopping this, and knowing that the knight cannot or should not be captured because bishop e1 is mate. Okay, black sees this and goes to h4. Now what? This is the move 2. I imagine most get stuck with what to do here. There's a couple tempting options. One is bishop to e1, but this is not correct. Why is this the case? Well, here's a second conclusion you really need to come to, and that is if black is able to move their pawn to g3, opening up a new square for the king, we're not going to be successful. We're not going to be able to get at the black king. The bishop can't control h4, and the knight, just by the nature of the knight, will not be able to simultaneously control these two, and there's no fancy perpetual check we can use to get at black. Bishop e1 does not lead to anything after g3. g3 on move 2 is another tempting one. If king h3, we can give check and then checkmate. But black has a second option after g3. And this is what you really needed to see. After g3 takes, there's also a new square h3 for the king to run to, just like if this pawn is no longer on g4. He now has a second option. We won't be able to make progress here either. So what is the key second move? This is a tough one. The star move here is knight g3, a move that prevents black from playing g4 to g3. This knight cannot be captured with the king, should not be captured because of mate. He can be captured with the pawn. That's true. We'll have a look at that. And what's also important to note is he is threatening mate on f5. Playing to this square threatening mate allows this advance, opening up g4. It's important we make use of g3. And let's look at how black could defend from here. Queen here is one way, capturing the knight is another. We'll basically understand, or force, let's just say, pawn takes knight soon enough. After queen f8 to defend f5, now we have bishop e1, and we are threatening checkmate, knight f5, which would be double check. Black must capture the knight in this position, otherwise knight f5 is game over. Pawn takes knight. We're just 3 moves in, and we're just 1 move away from getting to a key final position that requires some deep understanding. Final fourth move here is bishop f2. What's the idea behind this? The idea is to get on this diagonal. This is a key position. Note one other thing here. After this knight is captured, this is an entombed king. One pawn is restricting 4 black pawns and the king. Now, black is playing without their king. Bishop f2. What's the story behind it? Well, there's a bunch of different stalemating ideas white has available. One is queen takes bishop, stalemate. No legal moves for white. It's a draw. Okay, suppose bishop is captured with the pawn. It's not stalemate yet. After g3 check, king takes pawn, king h3 are the only legal moves, and they're both leading to stalemate. Okay, so we can't capture the bishop, but we could surely do some other stuff, right? We have a queen and 2 pawns. You can't make progress. This is a drawn position, believe it or not. Suppose queen here. All the bishop has to do is stay on this diagonal. Bishop g1. Or let's just say bishop a7. Doesn't really matter. Stay on this diagonal, and you're good to go. Suppose there's a check. The bishop must block, and black needs to unpin the bishop on the next move, or it's going to be stalemate. Suppose queen c3. We could even do fancy stuff like bishop here. If the bishop is captured, stalemate. Suppose black starts to run with one of the passed pawns. After queen c3 and bishop b6, suppose he starts to run, we just capture it. Queen takes bishop, stalemate. Doesn't matter where these guys go. As soon as they step foot on c5 or d4, we're taking with the bishop. If the bishop is ever captured, as long as he's on this diagonal, it's going to be stalemate. There's only one way to capture the bishop and it not be stalemate, or not lead to stalemate for as long as he's on this diagonal, and that is to do something like a check and have the bishop block, and then you take the bishop. But this position will eventually also lead to stalemate. This is maybe the only other try because, again, from this position, all white has to do is stay on this diagonal. Whenever there's a check here, the bishop blocks on g1. Whenever a pawn moves, we take the pawn, and if our bishop is captured, the black queen will be controlling g1, and that'll be stalemate. So maybe the only try is something like this, where you take the bishop, but your king can't move. An entombed king, g2 pawn, controls 4 black pawns and the king, all on his own. Black starts to push, the king is coming over, and eventually black has to just do these moves here, and in the end, we have stalemate. How cool is this puzzle? I couldn't wait to share this one with you. It's not very deep move-wise, as mentioned, but talk about a star move, knight g3, basically forcing an entombed king, 1 pawn, killing 4 black pawns. The king is now a prisoner. And then this key move, bishop f2, functioning on this diagonal, and there's stalemates every which way. The only other variation I didn't show was an immediate capture of the knight on g3 on move 2, but in this position, we get on this diagonal right away, and it is the same story. Stalemates every which way. Feel free to... I encourage you. I really want to know what your feedback is on this. This is such a cool puzzle. To me, at least. I don't know. Maybe I'm overreacting. Let me know what you think. This guy, Frédéric Lazard, man, he's got some good stuff. I'll be looking for more of his puzzles to share with you soon enough. But give me some feedback. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And I hope you enjoyed it. That's all for now. Take care.